All right, at this moment, several countries are navigating their responses to new tariffs put into effect by the Trump administration. A new Thursday deadline now looms for many of those new levies. The president says he expects his phone, in his words, will be blowing up in the coming days with requests for last-minute deals. CBS News MoneyWatch correspondent Kelly O'Grady's phone is always blowing up. That was way too easy. I had to. And joins us now with more. Great to see you this Monday.
Too popular, Errol. I love it, though.
The phone, the notifications. Where are we today with all the tariffs we've been talking about so much for months?
Okay, so I sort of put this into three different buckets. You have the group of smaller trading partners that were essentially given rates, whether those were the trade letters or the rates that were just, okay, here's your tariff. And so that would be a country like Switzerland, for example. And those are the countries that the White House, I do believe, expects there's going to be a lot of calls of, hey, we want to negotiate a deal prior to that August 7th deadline, which, by the way, was moved from August 1st on Friday. So that does keep moving. The second group of sort of countries that I would look at are the ones that we have either negotiated frameworks or deals with or are continuing to negotiate with. And so that would be Mexico, where there's a 90-day pause. That would be the European Union, where there's a framework of a deal. And actually, CNBC just reported moments ago that they have decided to pause on their retaliatory tariffs against the U.S., underscoring that willingness to continue negotiating and figuring out the rest of it.
Okay.
And then the third block, which are countries like India, like China, where we have ongoing negotiations. But now there's this little wrinkle of the fact that they do business with Russia. And remember, there are going to be these secondary sanctions on any countries that are trading or buying energy from Russia. So that's going to kind of add a whole wrinkle into these trade talks.
Let's jump back to Friday, which is a new wrinkle, and that's the state of the U.S. economy. You were with us in this space saying, okay, the job numbers aren't great, but what's worse is this downward revision.
Yes.
And since then, we've seen the president fire the commissioner at BLS, citing those stats. The Fed met recently and decided not to change interest rates. I wonder if weaker economic numbers like those downward revisions would have factored into a rate cut, in your opinion. I'm asking you to look into, like, mystical guesses, but I'm asking if it's so bad that it may actually justify a downward rate.
That was my initial reaction, too, of, oh, I wonder if the Fed had this data on Wednesday when they had met. A lot of investors are saying, yeah, they should have cut rates. And in fact, I had a very timely interview with Beth Hammack. She's the president and CEO of the Cleveland Federal Reserve. She is in those meetings when they are deciding. And I asked her this question. Let me play a clip from that interview. If you had the July jobs report, how would you feel about interest rates? Would you think that we should have cut at that meeting?
I feel confident in the decision that we made at this most recent meeting. We don't make too much of any one individual report as it comes out. We have to look at the trend. We have to look at how the data is tracking overall. And for me, there are disappointing signs in this labor market data, but there's still more evidence that we're missing on the inflation side of our mandate.
So what she's saying is, no, I think that we made the right decision. And here's the wrinkle. You have now 3 months with the revisions of weaker than we would like economic data. To me, that does make a trend. She says it's an emerging trend when I pressed her, but you've got the inflation part of it. We're going to get another jobs report, another inflation report. The Fed will have more data before they decide again.
When do we get those reports? This week or just weeks?
In the next few weeks.
Next few weeks. We'll see how they get revised, because those revisions also can happen indefinitely for months,
that is true.
if not longer. Kelly, great to have you with us. Thank you so much.